Welcome in to a Wednesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show. Remember, online, jordyculottashow.com, Facebook, YouTube, brought to you daily by Go Chevrolet, online at GEAUX Chevrolet.com. Shout out to Lee Carney, Nick Richard, and the entire crew down there. If you need used cars, if you're shopping for them, remember you can find them right here on Florida Boulevard and Sherwood Forest, or brand new lot out in Laplace, Louisiana. Any of the inventory that you shop in Laplace, you can find in Baton Rouge. Welcome to another edition of the Jordy Culotta Show. Jam-packed here for you on this Wednesday morning. Full studio here at the UDL. Noah's in behind the scenes. Lizzie's behind the camera. Jack and Katie are here on this Wednesday morning. We will be joined by Ben Baby, who talks about the Cincinnati Bengals, as the Bengals right now going through off-season and getting ready for year 2 of Joe Burrow, year 1 of Jamar Chase. We'll ask Ben Baby, who covers the Bengals for ESPN.com, some of the storylines for the offseason about Louisiana's favorite Midwestern NFL team, the Cincinnati Bengals, as they get ready. Burrow got new teeth. Looks like he got new teeth.
Looks like he got some new choppers. Don't know if he needed them, but hey, flex, young man.
Absolutely. When you got millions in the bank account, you can kind of take a gamble, right? I mean,
what do you mean
why not?
new teeth?
He got
Like
some
he got-
veneers.
Looked like he got veneers.
He got cast up.
I mean, yesterday he was
whitening.
taking some solo shots.
Oh, I've got the pictures.
Get it up there.
Fully padded up,
Fully torqued.
He just won at life.
and he was. I mean, he rocks a smile, and it looks like he's got some veneers. I mean, he's definitely wanting you to pay attention to his teeth.
I bet Dr. Chad could confirm that for us.
We won't let's send that over to Dr. Spillers and see if he can't confirm.
You just gonna get the one?
Are those real or
Get one veneer.
It's like 8,000 for one veneer.
Guess which
It
one?
is expensive.
All right, we will talk to Austin Thomas coming up here at 7:30 this morning. Get the latest on LSU football. Tigers, of course, going through the teeth of off-season recruiting, camps everywhere. What's been the benefits of opening back up campus and getting recruits on campus for some live recruiting there? Arch Manning on campus yesterday on an unofficial, as he was down here with a couple of his teammates, A.J. Johnson and Bo Bordelon, both guys who are committed to LSU's class of 2022, while Arch is the number 1 quarterback in 2023. It seemed like he was down here in Baton Rouge yesterday. Austin Thomas will not be able to speak about him specifically, but we can ask you if he's had some big names in Baton Rouge over the last 24 hours that we should know about.
That's so weird.
It is
like,
so
that
weird.
You have to kind of you can't really talk about it, but
NCAA.
everybody knows what you're talking about.
NCAA.
Just pick and choose their rules sometimes.
Yeah.
With no logic at all.
NCAA. Jean Paul Bourgeois, who is the resident chef here on the Jordy Culotta Show, will stop back by here on this Wednesday morning. So if you've got food questions lined up for the chef, make sure and get inside of the bunker where we
Still
can.
in Austin?
No, he's in Louisiana now.
Okay, so
He's
he ran
back
from
home.
the heat.
Yes.
Is he going to come see us?
At some point, I think we might have to go see him.
Well, he was
Okay.
talking about his fried chicken.
Yeah.
I know. I mean,
we
I
gotta
really
go.
want to
Hot about
try
it.
that. He is.
You can't just be a chef and throw that out there, especially
No.
from
And
South
say that's the
Louisiana,
best thing you make.
and
Just
just
flex.
duck out, man. I mean, we got to find out where he is.
We
We
were,
gotta
we
get
were
fried
really
rice.
pushing for him, though, to be like, well, you should bring us up. Like, okay.
When?
When?
And then we may or may not extend this show to 9:30 this morning, but we will have programming and content for you today, because at 9:30 this morning, we're going to interview Todd Walker. And Walker made some news yesterday as he was on a North Louisiana radio show and talking about Mike Bianco being in town and interviewing for the LSU job. And Walker said if that, in fact, was going down, that he'd be interested in being the hitting coach. And I think a lot of people's ears perked up when you hear that Todd Walker was interested in possibly coaching at LSU, and that would be alongside Mike Bianco in the scenario that he painted yesterday up on a North Louisiana radio station, as that was kind of a story and a spot that got a lot of people speaking about it yesterday afternoon.
If it wasn't Bianco, do you think he would still entertain the idea, or that a whole new staff, like a new turnover, wouldn't even interest the idea of bringing Todd Walker in? Is that just specifically tied to if they get Bianco?
Well, it's a good question, but I think that, with Bianco and Walker's ties, Bianco was
Right.
the hitting coach when Todd Walker was here. Todd Walker, in my opinion, for at least my generation of fan, is the greatest LSU baseball player of all time. I mean, I know that what Skip said about Ben McDonald, and Ben probably deserves that accolade just because of him getting the ball rolling. But once it was rolling downhill, I mean, Todd Walker was the guy that stood out from everybody.
When was that?
91, 92, 93
Okay.
was his 3 years here. He was the freshman of the year in 91. No, he was 92, 93, 94. And freshman of the year in 92 was the national player of the year in 93 when they won the World Series, was the MVP of the World Series, and then was a high round draft pick after his third season in 94, and was just, I mean, they called him Batman every time he came up to bat. They played the Batman theme song. Bianco was the hitting coach at the time while Walker was here, so obviously they had a phenomenal relationship together. So I think that's where a lot of that stuff popped yesterday, with Walker being on a public platform. And speaking of that, so we'll talk a little bit more about that coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Remember, all of your interaction is very much appreciated. We urge you to like, share, and comment on the post on the YouTube, Facebook. If you're watching on JordyCulottaShow.com, make sure and share that link for us here this morning as daily our.
Oh, go ahead. And if you click the bell, you get notifications for if we do go live later on this afternoon with the Todd Walker interview or anything like that. You'll have a notification that the interview is up and we're live.
Coffee is brought to you daily by Majestic Coffee, Majestic Brews, or DeliciousSips.com if you want to check out the South Louisiana brewed coffee here. Majestic Coffee is the official coffee sponsor of the Jordy Culotta Show. And then coming up here this morning, anybody that is via the phone line, which all of our guests will be this morning, nobody coming inside the UDL. That's all compliments of Metropolitan Health Group. Metropolitan Health Group, real doctors, real solutions. Check out Charlie Harvey and Jason Ramazan. And as we've been reminding you about Jason Ramazan, Mr. Funds Travel is putting together a trip to Pasadena for the opening game of LSU versus UCLA. And the news yesterday coming out of California is very positive for that game, as it was announced that UCLA announced on Tuesday that the Rose Bowl is going to be full capacity for the upcoming season, which includes LSU's season opener coming up on the first weekend of September. So full capacity at the Rose Bowl. California will be back open and operating, and Mr. Funds Travel is giving you an opportunity to get to that game. Airfare, hotel, ticket accommodations, all of that included in the package. Check it out online at MrFundsTravel.com. We'll be making the trip. Looking forward to that game now, especially with full capacity out there at the Rose Bowl. It should be a really cool environment.
Mortify some fans. Who are these people?
I mean,
What is
just-
wrong
Dude,
with
that's
these?
Shock
exactly
people.
what I was about to say.
Shock people.
They just go to full capacity and look who's coming to town. We've been open this whole time. What are you
Really?
talking
Right.
about?
We've been pre-gaming for 6 months.
Smart, brother.
What y'all do during the quarantine? Drink.
I mean, like, they're having like a party over there like Rick Ross.
Yeah.
I mean, like, they I don't know if they have any idea what they have.
No.
Dude, if they roll
have-
out the red carpet for us, we're just gonna we're gonna steal it.
Scorcher.
I mean, jeez. So we'll talk to Austin Thomas about getting over to Pasadena and what it means for full capacity and what that means for LSU as they get prepared here in the off season. Got any football questions? Make sure and get inside of the Bunker app. Make sure that you get there for a food question that you may have for the chef that's coming up here at 8:30 this morning. We'll talk to Austin Thomas 15 minutes from now about LSU football. LSU baseball dominating the news wire right now, and it's all centered around who is going to be the next head coach in Baton Rouge. If you read between the lines, if you listen to everything that's being said, if you're following the rumors, if you're following the hearsay, Mike Bianco should be introduced over the next couple of hours as LSU's head baseball coach. That's what it seems, right? I mean, by everybody that you talk to, all of the rumors, everybody says he's in town, he's interviewed, he's doing this. I don't believe it.
I think we're getting screened again, dude.
I really don't.
I think it's another
Money back,
Fugazi.
Woodward, the
I mean,
sunscreen.
for whatever reason, I'm not buying in or biting on this one because I think that this is Scott Woodward behind the scenes doing what LSU's fan base is not accustomed to seeing. And that is
Confidence.
positive leadership, confidence in a decision, and playing a little PR sportsmanship, little gamesmanship in the public relations department. I don't think we realize how bad the public relations has been at LSU over the last decade. I mean, it got so bad, we were probably intoxicated by just what is good. You didn't even know what good public relations looked like because you were swimming in the deep end of such shitty public relations for so long. I mean, whether it was Joe Oliva fumbling over his words and sentences or laying out in his backyard in the middle of the day, to Les Miles sticking his finger in his ear and trying to explain his decisions of what he was doing inside of games, to F. King Alexander running around half drunk all the time.
Screw that guy.
I mean,
Was he?
the public relations at LSU was a case study
Yes.
of
What not to do.
Well, yeah.
The only school I could think that was up to par with us was Penn State, with just such bad public relations. I was like,
And we weren't even close to having such a scandal as that. I mean, we were just putting ourselves in the conversation.
kept shooting us in the foot.
And now look who they've been compared to over the last couple of months when you talk about scandal.
Penn State.
Is Penn State. And a lot of reason to me for that is the public relations behind it. I mean, when you talk about the scandals, they don't even, not only are they not in the same area, I mean, they're not even in the same capacity as far as the violations go, right? I mean, child molestation.
For years.
Covered up.
Yeah.
And LSU's public relations came in after a federal government investigation and made no statements. They made no moves. And the federal government said, well, I guess we got to go back in again, because they hadn't even recognized what went on the first time. I mean, their PR is so, and it still has, it still, in my opinion, has leaps and bounds to go to improve. I mean, the football department's PR is still horrendous. I mean, Ed Ogeron's PR is still laughable at times. I mean, it's amazing the public relations trap that guy can walk into still after such bad PR. You know, I mean, a lot of people, I thought that was Derek Podamski's job to manage his PR, but
yeah.
I mean, as many times as he has stepped into the mud of public relations, I mean, like a lot of people wonder, what the hell does Podamski do? I mean, what is, if he keeps stepping into stuff like that, what's the purpose of having your friend on staff?
PR guy? Like, I think
It's a good question.
Some guy, he went to the bathroom and then like made a doll of himself, and it's just been like that for 5 months. So he's like, oh, he's just been working on his computer.
Why not?
So are you saying this is good PR then?
I think that
the baseball coaching situation?
I think this is typical good PR to distract your fan base or distract the public of what's really going on.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, in years past, floated names at LSU would have been a contract signed. Nobody would have any idea how to pull off some of this 101 strategy of PR of just make everybody look over there while we dance over here.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, let them all think that we're going to hire Pat Casey while you're getting a deal done behind the scenes for whoever the guy may be. Whether it may be Corbin, whether it be Vitello, whether it be whoever it is.
Dan.
McDonald?
McDonald.
No one's been eliminated. People are just
Corbin.
getting added, it seems like. Like every day there's nothing, like we can't narrow
it's good
anything
for us.
down.
And with this
But
fan base.
that's good
Yeah.
public
I mean,
relations
yeah,
strategy.
they're doing it.
Keep them guessing. Let them believe that
guessing.
that's the guy. Make them believe that that's the guy, when all in reality, the guy is really over here.
Right.
Is that a Woodward game plan? All these smoke screens?
It's somebody, whoever is new on that staff, and Woodward seems to be the newest one in that office. You know what I mean?
Yes.
He's the one that seemingly has the complete understanding of how public relations works and what the positive spin can be on good PR and what the detriment can be of bad public relations. I mean, LSU has seen so many just
Botched.
run over of botched bad PR that when you see good PR, you wonder, is that what I'm looking at?
Right. I mean, this fan base
that's
has
weird.
This fan base has PTSD from everything that they've been through in terms of trying to make a hire. I mean, do you remember whenever Tom Herman was on the ticker while LSU was playing?
Yes.
By ESPN announced as the new head coach of LSU football, and we're like, wait, what? And then it's like, no, he's not. Les Miles is coming back. And we're like, So we're like a scorned lover. We don't know what to believe. It's like, oh, is this the way you actually are supposed to like be in a relationship? I don't know.
Right. Yeah, you don't even know what you're looking at.
It just feels different.
You
which is
only
nice.
know that
Yeah.
you remember what bad public relations looked like.
Right.
And you got so deep into it that you probably never thought the day would come when you would see good PR because of how bad it really was. And like I said, I believe that LSU's athletic department, solely the athletic department, could be a case study on public relations the last decade. You could go in there and take so many examples over the last 10 years and pull them and say, this is what you're not supposed to do in a situation like this. If you're trying to hire a new football coach, don't ever come out and say that you're trying to hire a new football coach.
During a game. During the game.
There's so many examples of just people saying, what in the hell is LSU thinking?
Who's running this clown show?
What is going on down there? And now when you have a guy like Scott Woodward who has a clear plan, a very much well thought out plan, this could be what it looks like. This could be what good public relations seemingly is, where you've got somebody who's a decision maker behind the scenes who has an understanding of what he wants in the job, who he wants to fill it with, makes a list, goes out there and attacks it. And while everybody around that, the public support of that decision hears names and claps back on names and supports names and talks about names, all the while those names that are being talked about aren't even being discussed by the decision maker.
Well, and it kind of goes back to Woodward being from Baton Rouge, because everybody, if there's a fan base that's easily to like misdirect, it's certainly the one in Baton Rouge, because whether you like it or not, Tiger Droppings has some cachet here in terms of getting people's thoughts together and out there. So he can peruse that thing and be like, well, this is what everybody's thinking. And then he knows that that's where people go to in Baton Rouge for sports news at times. And so I'm sure he looks at it as like, well, if this is like a float out to Pat Casey, he's like, look at these people explode while I'm over
Jingle
here,
the keys
dude.
over here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's a testament to him knowing the fan base and being
Absolutely.
from Baton Rouge.
I think that Mike Bianco has received unfair criticism during this this time, and I am not here to say that it would be a total letdown if Bianco was brought in, because that is the sentiment that I feel, and we've probably been even more guilty of maybe spreading that message just because of the thought of the power of the job and the opportunity that Bianco has to bring in somebody that is young, new, and has new blood here. Mike Bianco is a fantastic college baseball. I mean, he really is. I think that you have to look at what he's accomplished in Oxford and what he built over the last 20 years. And while it's not LSU in the sense of the championships that they were able to bring in, as far as exposure and growing the program, it is very much on that plane, right? I mean, the success level is not there. The championships are not there. The SEC titles are not there. The Omaha trips are not there. But as far as making a baseball program relevant, growing a fan base into a point where, there is season in, season out intrigue to the Ole Miss baseball program, Bianco's done an incredible job. But does that warrant him getting set up for the LSU job? A lot of people don't believe that is enough work to get into a job like this.
Well, and it's like you said, that wouldn't be the Woodward splash hire. If it's Joe Oliva 5 years ago, I think people would be jumping out their chair to get Mike Bianco. Would you agree?
Yes.
He's a great coach. The thing is, who does Ole Miss hire? They would just one up us. I think that's where the fear stems from.
I agree
they
with
just
that.
one up
Yeah,
us.
buyer's remorse.
Yeah. Well, I think that's going to happen if they hire Bianco.
Right.
Because, I mean, Ole Miss is not dealing with the stuff that LSU is on campus. And when you look at just some of the selections out there, I mean, side by side, Cliff Godwin is a better selection than Mike Bianco of a college baseball coach.
And you would imagine Godwin would take the job if offered.
I would,
I mean,
yes.
from
He should have
ECU to
100%,
LSU,
yes. Yes,
Same
100%.
colors.
But isn't it's warranted? It's warranted that people are down on Bianco, right? He's not a winning coach.
He is a winning coach. he is not a winning at the level that they want coach.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
I mean, he's won a lot of college baseball games. He hasn't won on the level that a lot of people around here would like to see, but either has anybody else that is being discussed for this job. But I think the only turnoff on Bianco compared to the other ones is his age, time. I mean, the 21 years in one place and getting him back here at this point in his career. I mean, it was what we talked about yesterday, right? I mean, who do you want to be? What does the job look like now? Do you want it to be continued to carry on the LSU baseball way and stay in the fraternity? Well, that means that you would stay with an older coach and maybe somebody that is a lot like what we've been witnessing for the last 30 years.
Safe.
In college baseball, with that type of mentality? Or is it time? Is it time for LSU to make a choice on maybe a riskier move of going a little bit young to somebody that may be more unproven, but has the mentality and has the wherewithal and the upside to handle this job, to handle the LSU job? And potentially, if you make that move, he's here for 20 years compared to making a move that I think you probably get 10 years out of Bianco if you make that move right now, which is a nice time. That's a nice window. But if you don't want to make this move for another, decade and a half, 20 years maybe, then the youthful guy, maybe outside of the fraternity, is the choice that makes most sense. That makes the most sense.
Is some of this coming from just that, like you say, the old guard, and with LSU baseball, they feel like it's so they hold it so close to their heart that they're terrified of almost an outsider coming in and messing with their baby in some sense.
I'm sure that there is a feeling of that, of a little bit of ownership, of making sure whoever comes in next understands the old army of
the scope of the
LSU
program.
baseball. I think that there is a piece of that to it, but when you are making a move like this, you've got to go after a winner and somebody that you trust that can step into this position, and you can't have anybody that is from the past or from an ancillary piece to the athletic department coming in and having any type of pushback on that decision. I think that's you can't allow that voice to be loud.
The most dominant one in the room. How many parallels can you draw from the LSU basketball hire to this LSU baseball hire? Because they did the LSU retread with Johnny Jones, and they finally stepped out of the LSU program and brought in Will Wade. I think it's very similar in this case.
It is, in my opinion, and that's why when I look at a guy like Tony Vitello, I think that you see what the upside would be in bringing him to LSU when you just simply look at Will Wade. And, when you look at the way that Wade has managed his program and gained so much quick interest in his program, all the while putting a winner on the floor, while the rest of the sport loves to hate Wade, you poll the majority of Baton Rouge, you poll the majority of LSU fans, and people will run through a wall for that cat. I mean, they will. Will Wade, to me, seems like the most popular coach on campus right now.
Something about being public enemy number one in the sport makes the fan base so much stronger. Like, that's our guy. Us against the world.
And especially when you look into the camera, nod your chin, and accept it. You know what I mean? When you say, okay, all right. I mean, if you want to paint me as that character, then I'll be that character.
I'll wear the black hat, dude.
Mm-hmm.
But you better beat me. You know what I mean?
Then you can talk your shit after you beat me, but I'm right here. I'm going to sit here with a smile on my face, and I think Vitello has a lot of that to him.
I agree,
The
does.
Arkansas story Chris Reed was saying.
Yes.
That fired me up.
Me too.
What did they do? Are they talking shit out there? Let me go check on him real quick. It's like, who is this dude running over here?
For as accomplished as Mulkey is, that's who Mulkey is.
Yeah,
I mean, she's got a lot of FU in her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if she would play you in a parking lot. Yeah, that's a type of mentality she has. Wherever you want to tip this thing off, she'll play you.
Shoes are in the car.
Right, exactly.
Wear my Nike socks already.
And I mean, so that is, I think that fits the mentality of who Woodward looks for, who he wants.
Do you think Cruz and Morgan have any say?
No. I wish.
Not at the college level.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that, but you know, you've got those guys for 2 more years. Like I said, you're hoping this decision makes and lasts for 10 years minimum.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think once you make the move, you go in and tell Trey Morgan and Dylan Cruz, this is who we got. You know, I mean, I don't think that you ask their thoughts on it. I may call Trey Morgan's dad. I may call Dylan Cruz's dad just to say, hey, look, this is our guy. Look, you're not planning on doing anything, right? I mean,
yeah, Dylan Cruz already said he's sticking around no matter what, which is nice to hear. I think they're more interested in getting the box back to a perennial place where people want to play, like they want it to be fun again.
Yeah,
that's their sentiment. Like whoever you bring in, let's make this thing rock again.
Who do you think would do that? What coach?
Vitello.
I mean, we've painted ourselves in such a corner. Oh, hey, Coach Bianco, nice to meet you.
But who else? Who else?
Come on.
Yeah. I mean, from that decision. I mean, Godwin's got a little bit in there. Godwin's got some of that stuff in him.
Well, yeah, you saw
I know a lot about him.
You saw his press conference, and he was essentially weeping up there with his players, talking about how proud he was of them. So he has all of their backs. He's pretty much got that team behind him. People love that, but I just kind of want some of that FU in him. And I think, it's just so when you compare the 3 or 4 coaches that are up for debate, Vitello just sticks out the most in my mind.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree. Daily, we're brought to you by RMB Builders. Remember, Rhett Bourgeois and his crew over at RMB Builders can get you set up in a custom-made home. They can help you with reconstruction, or if you need anything done commercially, they've got a commercial license where they can help you around the office as well. Check them out online at rmb-builders.com. Rhett Bourgeois and his crew, rmb-builders.com. Next, we'll come back and talk to Austin Thomas, who is the LSU football general manager. We'll talk to him about this offseason, some of the new faces in the building, including offensive line coach Brad Davis. So lots to talk about with Austin Thomas right here next on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, Jordy at JordyCulottaShow.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy at JordyCulottaShow.com to learn more. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Welcome back into the Jordy Culotta Show live here on this Wednesday morning. Lots to get to as we will talk to Ben Baby coming up here in 30 minutes. Baby covers the Cincinnati Bengals for ESPN.com. Joey B, Jamar Chase going into year one. We'll talk to him about the chemistry that they are working up here in the summer. Your food questions an hour from now. Chef Jean Paul Bourgeois will be here. Always look forward to our next guest, Austin Thomas, who is back in Baton Rouge. General manager of LSU Football, and the Tigers have experienced so much success here early on in recruiting, and with opening up the campus and allowing 7-on-7s and offensive line, defensive line camps, you have seen recruiting just explode. We told you yesterday Arch Manning was on campus, one of the huge names in the state of Louisiana. Austin Thomas cannot speak about him specifically, but we can talk to him about the success that LSU is experiencing on the trail, and we welcome him into the conversation now. The LSU football general manager here on this Wednesday morning. Austin, good morning. Thank you as always for your time.
Good morning, JC. How we doing, my brother?
Doing good, man. A beautiful summer Wednesday morning, which I know is the teeth of recruiting for college football, and it seems like every time I hop on social media, it is a big-time prospect in Baton Rouge. You guys have had a couple of camps over the last week. What has the restrictions being lifted done for your recruiting department over the last couple of weeks?
Oh my goodness, it's been a crazy start to June, but something that we welcome and we invite, and just Coach O gave us a little downtime in May to make sure that we had the energy to invest in our players and these guys that are visiting campus and camps, that everything that we have going on in June. So we've kind of hit the ground running, and we've been bringing the best version of ourselves that we can. You mentioned Camp Jordy, and just it's been amazing. It's been the best camps we've ever had. What a summer! I think to this point we've had 3,500 campers in the last 2 weeks of June, and so again, it's been the most we've ever had. And if I can just say one thing about that, it's to parents, high school coaches, and players, just thank you. If you don't hear me say anything else this morning, it's a very genuine and sincere thank you to the young people in this state, because it serves as such an opportunity for us to give back and to continue to grow this great game that we have through fundamentals and technique and training. And it's been nothing short of amazing to see. And so to have these guys on campus and be able to coach them and have the opportunity to grow football is been amazing. So thank you to everyone that's helped make it possible.
Austin Thomas, LSU Football's general manager, joining us here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Can you compare what it was like last year at this time and trying to evaluate compared to having guys on campus in front of your eyes that you can evaluate? You guys put such a premium on your off-season camps for recruiting evaluation. How different was last summer compared to this one, being that you couldn't do it last summer and now you can?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, it's really twofold. And so I don't want to get philosophical here, JC, but, just the essence of who we are as human beings, right? And the ability to be around others and communicate and see smiles and personalities and have that interaction. I think that's who we are as a human race. And so to have that taken away and everything be done through a computer, whether it's recruiting, whether it's interaction with just, your staff and people, it was a hard year for everyone, right? And so, it's not something that I want to spend a lot of time talking about, but you kind of contrast that with this year and being able to see people in person and their personalities and their smiles and the joy that we get from that and they get from that interaction has been amazing. And so to open that up, first and foremost, to see people again, to see them around the facility, to be able to show that off, the resources that we have to be able to help all these young men in all aspects of their life and facets of their life is amazing. And so we feel really fortunate and blessed to have that open again and be able to have visitors. But, you talked about the evaluation piece of it. I think it's been great for us. And as you know, we tend to do very, very well in our decision-making process when we have guys at camp and we're able to see them move around and we're able to coach them. And as much of it about us coaching them is them, evaluating us and being coached by us and learning our style. And so just taking that and making sure that we're making good decisions and that these guys are able to be coached, and we're able to see their personalities. You know, are they coachable? Will they compete? Are they mentally tough? How do they interact with others? How do they take coaching? All those are questions that we're trying to answer as we now are able to see guys in person again, and then vice versa, that we want them to see that from us, how they're going to be coached every day and the standard that's going to be set and the accountability piece that's going to be set for them if they choose to come to school here.
Coach, what about the freshman class that just touched down on campus? That is the class, I guess, that didn't receive the fair evaluation, right? Just because of the restrictions that both the recruiting members were under and you guys as coaches were operating under. You get those guys on campus, and I know there's a lot of expectation for this true freshman class to have an impact on the 21 roster. What has been the early return of just seeing those guys up close in the facility?
Yeah, I think it's been a tremendous class. And, you know, we talked about this in May. And, of course, I got back here, late December, early January, Jordy. And it's crazy to think about this. But when we met these guys in May, I obviously had not met them. But Coach O and I were talking about, hey, this is the first time I've met them. So it's mind-blowing to think that, you know, an entire class was signed and they had never been on campus and the head coach had never met them in person. But early returns are this is a great freshman class. The character of these guys is extremely high, and kudos to the staff that was here for signing these guys. I think it was so much more important to be able to trust your eyes and trust your process and really digging and calling and asking about these young men that you're bringing into your program, because again, there were some variables that were unknown and it was really uncontrollable. But at the same time, I really feel strongly about this class and who these guys are. And it's been great to kind of infuse them into what we're doing and the upperclassmen that we have. So it's been a good summer so far.
48 hours before your first camp of the summer, you guys make a change on the coaching staff and bring in a Baton Rouge native and Brad Davis as an offensive line coach who's got great experience in the league at both Missouri and Arkansas. But as I said, a South Louisiana native and somebody who has really, I think, dreamt about the LSU job and coming home, and he got the call right at the start of June. What do you get when you add Coach Davis to the staff, both as a recruiter and an on-the-field leader and coach?
Yeah, I think you said it all there, Jordy. We are so fortunate to have Coach Davis here in Baton Rouge. You know, you just look at the experience, you look at what he's done, what he's accomplished on the offensive line, and there's not any better in football. And so, just really, really excited about him. He has so much humility, so much passion for Baton Rouge, the state of Louisiana, LSU. I mean, it just oozes out of him. But more importantly, he's a great leader of men. He leads with, integrity and character. And the early returns have been phenomenal. He's had a great impact on our team already, not just the offensive line group. He's hit the ground running, and he doesn't, he hasn't spoken a lot yet. He's done a lot of listening and observing, but when he speaks, it's powerful. That's great to see. So he's an extremely effective communicator, and he demands excellence. There's no compromise from those guys. So it's been great to have Coach Davis. He's a tremendous person. The sky's the limit for him as a coach, and he's a great man. I think, and as we've talked about, better people make better employees, and so the ceiling is unlimited for him.
Yeah, if you're just watching on social media, the interaction between some of these high-end offensive line recruits and Coach Davis, you can see the mutual respect and the excitement for guys and the opportunity that they may have in playing for Coach Davis at LSU. This is usually when you guys find some of your leaders. Coach, has anybody emerged here in the short off season that you've seen, or maybe even during the spring workouts, as somebody that you guys can count on as a leader going into next season?
Absolutely. I think you're always cultivating that, and you're always looking for leaders. And, we couldn't be more proud of this football team. These guys have done everything we've asked of them, and they've done it at an extremely high level. You talk about a quiet confidence and energy. I think you can feel that with this team, and it's player driven. And so the teams I've been around, the best ones, wherever that may be, it can be coach driven, but the best teams, the leadership is player driven. And I think you're feeling that. And I think we're seeing that in our early summer workouts. And so you look at guys like Damone Clark, you look at the defensive line, Andre Anthony, Ali Gay, Those guys have been phenomenal. The offensive line, Ed Ingram, Liam Shanahan, Austin Deculus. We expect that from our big guys. We recruited them all back here on the offensive and defensive line, and we expect them to be the leaders of this football team. But the list goes on and on, Jordy. I mean, you talk about Keyshawn Boutte, you talk about Jeray Jenkins, Miles Brennan, Max Johnson, even the 2 transfers. I tell you what, these guys have been very serious about football. Major Burns, Mike Jones, early return on investment there has been incredible. Those are 2 high-character kids. They've made their rooms better. They've made their team better. And so there's great competition going on within our team right now, but really, really strong leadership and a really strong group of high-character guys.
Austin, Ed Orgeron has always ran a championship program. That has always been the effort and what he has strived for year in, year out. Bringing you back into the fold, I think, is an example of that, and your strive to be elite in everything that LSU football does, whether it be in the nutrition center, recruiting, or what the on-the-field product looks like. Can you explain that philosophy to our listeners?
Absolutely. You know what? It's pretty simple, Jordy. It's the LSU standard of performance. It's why you come here. It's why coaches come here. It's why players come here. It's why staff comes here. We expect to compete to be the best in everything that we do. We want to compete for championships, and we wouldn't have it any other way. And, if that's not something that's ingrained within you when you walk through these doors, it probably isn't the right place for you. And that's just being completely honest. But, that starts from the top. Like you said, whether it's the best equipment, the best staff, the best strength program, the best training room, opportunities on and off the field, that takes a lot of commitment. And so I think the LSU administration has been fully supportive of that, and we are thankful for Scott and Verge and Stephanie and their support and leadership, but giving us the things that we need to be successful. We preach the best for our players, and that's what we want. It takes and then when you kind of put that together, it takes some intuition and ability to self-evaluate, to continue to try to find areas of growth. I think we can get better every single day. But it's not always easy. We have great people, and we have to always look for ways to improve upon the foundation that's been set here. And that, with that comes trust and transparency. And you have to be open-minded. And so kudos to Coach O for constantly pushing the envelope, being open-minded, trying to find ways for us to be on the cutting edge and at the forefront of what we're doing in college football. It's been phenomenal, and his leadership has been great, and I could not be more thrilled with the way he's leading the program right now. It's been a lot of fun to work for him.
Austin, the first time you were here, Derek Stingley Jr. was the number 1 player on you guys' board for recruiting as far as future went in the 19 class. LSU was able to get him in recruiting. Yep. He was the best freshman football player in America 2 seasons ago. Now he is wearing number 7 for LSU going into his junior season. Can you talk about your point of view of Sting Jr. when you were evaluating him while he was at Dunham, when you were away from LSU for a couple of seasons? He is he gets into Baton Rouge, and now you're back here going into his junior year and him wearing number 7. The expectation for him and just kind of your overall evaluation of Stingley getting to this point.
Yeah, it's amazing. We're talking about summer camps, and I remember being here, and Sting was at school, in high school, and he walks out on the practice field, and he competes at camp, and we're wondering who this young kid is, and we offer him a scholarship, and just to see the potential and the growth and the ability that he had, the natural ability and the traits come to fruition. It's a testament to him. It's a testament to his family. It's a testament to Coach Raymond and his staff and LSU, because there's a lot of talented individuals that come through here or play college football, but the ability to take that and continue to develop takes a special person, and especially when you have the natural abilities that he does. He's so gifted, but he works every single day to be the best version of himself that he can be, and so that's a testament to him and who he is, and he has developed into an elite player and the top defensive player, in my opinion, in college football. And so to see that, it's just been a joy to watch him grow, not only on the field, but off the field as a man, as a leader, as a person. It's been really great. And so for him to wear number 7 for us coming up this fall, it's a great honor for him. It's a great honor for us. I mean, we couldn't have a better representative. But again, I think I spoke about this the last time I was on with you, Jordy, is it's on us as a staff to help him manage that expectation, right? Not put too much on himself, to do this together, right? And make sure that we're helping him along the way, because he holds himself to an extremely high standard. And so for us, it's up to us to help put him in position to have success, to play within, the scheme, and understand that his teammates and his staff and the LSU community is here to help him, because it can be a lot. And he's a guy that has a lot of expectations wherever he is. So really, really excited for him, and just could not be more thankful for the contributions that he's made to this organization and team throughout his 3 years.
There's been a lot of talk about maybe Stingley playing on the offensive side of the ball this year. Had he come in as a wide receiver, as a recruit, what would be his potential? What would be his level going into maybe the NFL draft after his junior year? Like, where does he correlate if he'd only played offense?
Yeah, I think Sting is good enough and talented enough and intelligent enough to do whatever he wanted to do. Had he come in as a wide receiver, we'd probably be talking about him as a first-round pick at wide receiver. But I think it's really insane. He's got length, he's got ball skills, he's got speed, just all the intangibles, the processing, the things that are the little separators between the good ones and the great ones. He's a great one, and he's naturally gifted. But I think all that said, I think he's playing the right position.
For sure. Right. Austin Thomas, LSU general manager. Last one, Coach. We'll get you out of here. What's the summer schedule look like for the rest of June and July?
Oh, man, just finishing camps tomorrow and Friday. We got official visitors coming in this weekend. We got unofficials pretty much every single day, but really trying to start focusing in and locking in on our football team. Our current guys, Coach Moffitt and his staff, have done a great job in the month of June of keeping these guys going while we've got a lot going on. But we have football school today, which is 2 hours a week that we're allowed to do film review and conditioning drills. So we have our 8th football school today, and then our guys finish up the first summer session in school next week, and we'll take a little break for 4th of July, and we'll come back and we'll be ready to roll. So really, really excited about July and August. We'll report on tentatively right now on August the 5th, and our first practice will be August the 6th. So that's less than 2 months from now. So it'll be here before we know it.
Wow. It is football season. With baseball season officially over, it is football season in South Louisiana. The LSU general manager, the guy who's back in town, man, Austin Thomas. Always appreciate your time and your insight, Coach. We'll talk again soon.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a great day. Thanks for having me on.
Always. There he is, AT checking in this morning from LSU Football, giving his thoughts on where they are right now in recruiting. And he said a list of unofficial visitors, it seems like every single day. And yesterday, the unofficial visitor was Arch Manning. I mean, they've got guys walking through that facility now that is the who's who of recruiting, and they're doing it on their own dime. Remember, the difference between an official visitor and an unofficial visitor is that the unofficial visitor is paying his way. He's coming to LSU on his own. He's just making the trip over. And now I know it's easy for Arch to make that trip from New Orleans on a day off, but they've got people coming in from all over the country on unofficial visits just to see what LSU's got going on in the camps and everything that has been going on here this summer. So appreciate Austin Thomas for stopping in this morning and giving a little bit of insight there on what the rest of the schedule looks like, how the evaluation's going, and the importance of camps and having camps on and at your facility on campus to the evaluation period. Just because of being able to put your eyeballs on somebody. Talking to Austin and his crew, it was very much a nerve-wracking time when that class of 2020 was coming into the building because, a lot of these guys were recruited over Zoom. A lot of these guys were recruited over their huddle film. A lot of these guys were recruited over the phone and direct messages. Never were they recruited in person. Nobody was able to put...
It was internet dating.
It absolutely was.
Jay said it best. Like, I hope this kid's 6'4".
And that's what the feeling was on reporting day. Was everybody, all the coaches were kind of standing in the hall waiting to give true evaluation on signees, guys that have already signed and committed to LSU. So to get them on campus and have these camps, and like he said, over 3,500 kids
do that.
has come through here.
You got to have an AT to be able to pull that off.
Got to have an
absolute.
Got to have an Austin Thomas,
a master organizer.
Got to have somebody who can stay organized behind the scenes and really have a clear-cut plan to what what they want to accomplish. And Austin Thomas is, man, you ask anybody in that building, you talk to anybody around that athletic administration, he has been a key addition to Ed Orgeron's staff, and as far as being able to manage the roster, looking at recruiting, being able to provide quality depth at positions that you may have missed on the past couple of seasons, offensive line being the most notable there, linebacker being another position of great need in recruiting. But AT, because of his organizational skills, because of his experience, and just because of his communication ability, his ability to communicate with staff members and or players is really what sets him apart in that position.
He speaks the vision so well, what they're trying to build.
Yes.
It's so well said.
Yeah, well, I mean, he is a lot of the architect
Yeah.
behind that vision. You know, I mean, he is working hand in hand with Ed Orgeron to make sure that they have a clear-cut, defined vision for everybody to bite into, for everybody to really buy into. So Austin was great. I appreciate him for stopping by here on this Wednesday morning.
He's done making stops. He's at LSU until he just probably is. Yeah, after he bounced around the way he did, I would be shocked if he tested waters. He seems to be very comfortable at LSU.
I think and we can ask him this the next time he comes back, and I don't know how much he would speak about it on the record, just because it's very uncomfortable to talk about another job when you're in your current job. But I think ultimately he would like to be a NFL general manager, and I think that is probably the goal for him. To be able to draft and put together a roster and manage a salary cap, just because of that's really what his smarts are.
That's what his skill set looks like.
That's what his skill set is. But when you're at a big P5 school like LSU that's in the SEC that pumps out pros like they do every season, I mean that is the AAA of the NFL. So I know that he is very comfortable in this position, and this was a Scott Woodward. This wasn't necessarily an Ed Orgeron move. This was a Scott Woodward move from up top, saying, "Hey, look, we need some more organization inside of the football department. We need somebody with a clear mind who understands how to build roster, how to help with PR, how to help with situations that we may have been able, not been able to manage up to this point."
Especially coming off of the COVID year. You know how intense that must have been, because Coach O knows how to recruit, but he knows how to recruit one way. And that's Coach O is put your hands on you, be in person, and he gets that camaraderie going. So to have an AT behind the scenes, like, let's organize it like this. Him and Jake Steinhardt need to get together and have a cup of coffee.
I'm sure they have.
Yes,
I'm sure
that's the brain I would pick.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's just very organized.
Yes.
Very, very clear. Very precise on communication. Just a vision and a role that's very clear to understand. And I think that Austin Thomas was very much a breath of fresh air inside of that building for a lot of people, just because of what the organizational skills that he brings to the overall program. Jean Paul and Spillers, remember, they are our dentist. They are our dentist here on the Jordy Culotta Show, and they can help you out today if you want to stop in and see them. They're in Gonzales or they're in Baton Rouge. If you're a new patient, get in touch with them in Gonzales on Prepara Avenue. JeanPaulSpillers.com online. Remember, you can request an appointment online, whether it's your first visit or you are you're coming back as a patient. Jean Paul and Spillers welcomes you back, and they can do everything. Pediatric dentistry. They can help you out with anything that you may be feeling, any type of soreness that you have in your mouth. You need your teeth whitened or cleaned. He will also hopefully give us a confirmation on Joey B on
the unofficial
veneers.
dentist of Joe Burrow.
Yes.
I mean, those are veneers. There's no doubt.
Has to be.
I would like to know a cost to that, because Joey didn't need new teeth. It's just
I think they did it for free.
his
I'm
final
sure they did it
form.
for
It's just
free.
another glow
Just a
up.
rich man's.
He didn't
Yeah.
pay for those veneers. Come
No.
on. He's got a dentist
You think he's got a dentist? A little commercial
Oh,
coming out
yeah.
soon?
Possibly.
Those things are some chompers, dude.
They are.
I don't know. Do veneers break in? Can you
But didn't he always
know?
have nice teeth?
He
always had
did.
a
That's
nice
what I'm saying.
smile.
They look a little, I don't know,
a
maybe
little
too
brighter?
nice.
Very young for a move like
Yeah,
that.
I know. I'm a little shocked.
Very
Building
very
the
young.
brand.
Like that.
Burrow doesn't
Keep
seem to
doing
be
it,
very
Joey.
vain.
We will ask Ben Baby, who covers the Cincinnati Bengals for ESPN.com, all of the pressing questions like the
I
health
thought you meant you were going to ask him about
Joe Burrow
We are.
and
We are
whether or
trying to
not
know.
those are veneers. You're damn right.
Dude,
we're
that's what
asking
it was.
Ben
He had
Baby
too much
that.
off time. He's
Yeah.
been middling around, looking at his teeth in the mirror, and he's like, "You're not good. Get
Oh
some
my God.
veneers."
Just bored.
I got it.
He might have got
What is there
Botox
to
too.
do in
Yeah.
Cincinnati?
Go Chevrolet brings you on the Jordy Culotta Show. We'll be back here with Hour 2 next. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, jordy@jordyculotta.show.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. jordy@jordyculotta.show.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, jordy@jordyculotta.show.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. jordy@jordyculotta.show.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location.
Well, folks, it's time to kick it old school. So you can feel cool. Give it to me, baby. Baby. Yeah.
Welcome back into the Jordy Culotta Show live here this Wednesday morning. Good stuff from Austin Thomas, LSU Football General Manager, giving us some insight to the offseason for the Tigers.
He's too smart.
Some of the storylines is very smart. Very smart. Definitely too smart for this show.
I know, that's why I didn't ask any questions.
Speaking over us the entire time. But we love that. Austin Thomas giving us great information here on this Wednesday morning. Also about to provide us excellent insight is Ben Baby, who covers the Cincinnati Bengals for ESPN.com. My guy is a must-follow on Twitter, especially for anybody down here in South Louisiana who is big fans of the Bengals, obviously with Joey up there and now with Jam, rocket number 1 up in Cincinnati.
They can't forget Big T.
Yeah, Thaddeus
Shelvin.
Moss, Tyler Shelvin. I mean, all of them up there, bro.
Let's run it back, dude.
Ben Baby is on Twitter at Ben_baby, so make sure and follow him before we get out of here at 9 a.m. this morning. We welcome him back to the conversation. Ben, good morning. How are you, man?
Hey, Joe. How are y'all doing?
Doing good. The pressing question to everybody down here in South Louisiana, let's go ahead and get this off the top, is did Joey B get veneers in the offseason?
You know, I would have ventured to say yes. I think I'm no dental expert here,
Right.
but looking at the before and after pictures when we saw him for minicamp, I said, yeah, those would definitely look new. And good for him. I think you know, as a starting quarterback in the NFL, you've got to be conscious of your image. And honestly, if you look at the English Premier League over the last couple of years, a lot of the most high-profile players and guys, they've all had their teeth done. So it's interesting to see Joe kind of follow up on that trend. But hey, he's worried about looking good, and I can't blame him.
Has anybody asked him yet? And has anybody gone into the room and actually asked him, like, in a formal interview?
I don't think we have the stomach for that yet. I think we're gonna ease into that first.
It's just so obvious.
Right. Joe, one more in the last
Your teeth.
Ben Baby joining us here, talking some Cincinnati Bay. Talk about the buzz, Ben, because everybody down here in Louisiana feels it. I mean, I think, you know, with Drew Brees turning over at quarterback for the Saints and Jamar Chase being drafted to Cincinnati a year after Joe goes there, a lot of people in this part of the world are paying attention to the Cincinnati Bengals and are really excited about next season with Jamar Chase joining Joe up there. What has been the buzz like in that part of the world with the season just a couple of months away?
Yeah, you know, I think people are really excited, especially when you look at the progress Burrow made throughout minicamp in this offseason. I mean, the fact that he was able to do so much in OTAs and yesterday, rolling around, was able to do some 7-on-7 team stuff. You know, still limited, didn't do 11-on-11 team. But by and large, I think everybody is very optimistic and encouraged by what he was able to do, especially inside the building. And the fans have really eaten it up. And I think there's a lot of excitement about what this offense can look like when you talk about Joe Burrow, and then you add in Jamar Chase with the 5th overall pick and add him on to Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins and Joe Mixon. I think there's a lot of weapons on the offense. And I think in today's NFL, you have to be able to score at least 30 points a game if you want to win at the highest level. I think the Bengals understand that. I think other teams around the league are also well aware of this. So it's important to have an elite offense, and the Bengals are hoping that this becomes one by the end of the season.
Ben, you mentioned Jamar Chase going 5th overall, and you know that was a very popular pick for LSU fans. How popular was that for Cincinnati fans, knowing that Joe needed some protection, but there was a selection as dynamic as Chase on the board at that point? What was the feeling around the pick?
Yeah, I think for fans it was, if it's good for Joe, it's good for us.
Uh-huh.
I think that's really the impetus. And when Joe said, yeah, you know, I wouldn't mind having Jamar in, and it started to trend that way, and people said, oh, you know, this is what it looked like at LSU. And you got to remember, when you drafted Burrow in the first place, you drafted him with the hopes of this is what it could look like. And you know, when you look at that LSU team and what they did in 2019, that's what you hope you can bring to the Bengals. And Jamar was just another shade of that vision. Was when you saw them connect, when you saw them do what they did in that historic season. You're hoping that they can replicate that success in 2021. And so I think people understandably were a little apprehensive at first about not taking Penei Sewell, but you know, given the Bengals' needs and kind of what they were looking at, it makes sense. And then for them to take Jamar, who they had as their top wide receiver on their board, I think that makes a ton of sense. And, you know, for Burrow to be in the quick game, give him another option, another guy who can create separation quickly and has the capability to make big plays. You know, he's the playmaker the Bengals wanted at that spot.
What is the stability around their offensive line in this offseason? I mean, what is the feeling around that unit going into next season after Joe was banged up like he was in year one?
Yeah, you know, I think there's still going to be a few question marks, but they did some things to fortify that offensive line. They brought in Riley Reef to play right tackle out of Minnesota, a good veteran to have there. The big addition was getting Frank Pollock the new offensive line coach who was previously with the team. I think there's a lot of optimism inside the building and amongst the offensive linemen that Pollock will be a big upgrade over Jim Turner, who was with the team for a couple of years after coming from Texas A&M. And I think that, Pollock is going to – they're hoping that Pollock can really kind of infuse some confidence into those guys and really get that unit better. Then they drafted Jackson Carman in the second round. We saw him repping at right guard yesterday. So by and large, I think they have made some improvements, some tweaks, but is it going to be enough? That's still the big question. And to be honest, I think a lot of that also hinges on Burrow's development. If he can get the ball out quicker, if he can kind of up his reads and kind of work on some things throughout his game as well, I think that'll also help him stay upright.
There's a little bit of a stigma around the Bengals franchise and its history and not really being interested in investing and being a winner. Has Joe Burrow kind of changed their narrative about that? Are they more invested in the franchise and seeing this thing turn out to be, something that might be a perennial playoff team in a Super Bowl?
It's interesting you mentioned that Burrow changed that because I think that, whether it's a coincidence or not, it's that whenever they started ramping up to draft Joe Burrow, they ended up spending a lot of money on external free agents, which is very atypical for the franchise. You saw the deals they gave to quarterback Trey Waynes, defensive tackle DJ Reader. Then this year they gave it had another big deal for former Saints defensive end Trey Hendrickson. And they've been like slowly, ramping up. And I think they're aware of this narrative that they're kind of a cheap franchise, that they don't like to win at the highest level. And to be honest, I think they, when you look at what they did in free agency, that was in 2020, that was before the draft. And for me, it was almost like, there were all those comments during the pre-draft process, especially from former players going, well, we weren't really sure if the Bengals were interested in winning at the highest level. If Mike Brown and the family were really wanting to go all in on this. And then they spent all this money kind of almost as to show Joe Burrow, hey, if and when you come here, this is going to be a place that is concerned about winning, that does want to win. So I think that narrative has started to shift a little bit, but, I think now, at this point, the rebuilding process over the last 3 years should be over. It's time for them to push for a playoff berth, and we'll really see kind of where they're at in Zach Taylor's third year, and this is going to be a really pivotal year for the future of the franchise.
Ben, when Joe was here, his senior season, there were stories about him and Joe Brady as like football soulmates. Like the first time they met, they like hugged when they ended the meeting, just because they were on the same plane. They spoke the same terminology. They saw the same things offensively. Zach Taylor and Joe seem to have a very similar relationship when you look at quarterback, head coach / play caller. You're around that relationship a lot more than us. How is that? How is that relationship work day in, day out?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of comfort there on both sides, and I think that the fact that Burrow, last year Zach took a lot of heat as they kind of limped towards the 4-win season, and Zach only had 6 wins in his 2 years, and there were some questions about whether he should come back for year 3, and Burrow was very adamant and very vocal about how much he likes Zach. And I think that played a key role in them bringing him back for year 3. And I think that, Zach will be on the hot seat going into this season, understandably so after 6 wins in 2 years. But Zach, that relationship I think is really strong. And Zach, when you look at him, he's very flexible. He doesn't really have an ego about him that you would expect for a head coach at any level, much less an NFL head coach. And I think that bodes well for the players. I think for Burrow, his voice is going to be heard. And Zach is willing to listen to players and kind of coaches and say, oh, okay, if this is not working, what can we do to fix this? Prime example of that was in 2019. They went to London. They got routed again, and the run game just was not working. So on the plane ride back, they essentially just ripped up the entire run scheme, and they came back, and Joe Mixon finished with 1,000 yards by the end of the year. So it shows that there isn't enough. A lot of coaches, in my opinion, sometimes their stumbling block is they're too self-confident. They have too much of an ego, and they're unwilling to change some of these things that aren't working. And they're just kind of saying my path is going to work, and they just think it's going to it's going to play out. And Zach has kind of shown a little flexibility in some things that he's willing to negotiate with and say, these aren't core principles of what our offense should look like or what the team should look like. Some of these things can change if it's for the better of the team, especially with some of the scheme stuff. So I think that has been a positive, something Burrow has appreciated, and I think that relationship is going to be huge if Zach is to stay here past 2021.
Jamar Chase has more swagger at wide receiver than LSU has seen in the last 15 years. It feels like he's one of the best playmakers that college football has seen over the last couple of seasons. How exciting was the pick of Jam, and what is the expectation for the former Biletnikoff winner here in year one?
Yeah, it's going to be, I think, when you come in at the 5th overall pick, the expectations are going to be very high. And I think the expectations are that he ends up being the top receiver on the team. And yesterday we saw a glimpse of that in 7-on-7. I think they had Burrow and Chase linked up for 4 straight completions, and they really just looked like they were on the same page. Just really everything was running smoothly. Joe was, had a lot of good things to say after that session. And I think that you're hoping that Jamar can come out and be this big playmaker that the Bengals have kind of lacked at times, and the Bengals have good receivers. I think theoretically a lot of fans think this could be one of the best receiving corps in the NFL. I think that there's a potential it could be that, depending on how it all looks once Burrow gets healthy. But, Higgins looked like a wide receiver one at the end of last season. Tyler Boyd, a lot of people believe he's one of the best slot receivers in the NFL. Now you add Jamar Chase in the mix, who's a big body guy who can create separation, and really his skill, especially at LSU, was getting those yards after catch. And for the Bengals running a lot of quick game, running a lot of intermediate passing, there's that possibility when you have a guy like Chase on the field that he can turn a quick slant into a massive gain, if not a touchdown. And I think that's what, the Bengals are going to be banking on. And Jamar's got to help Joe Burrow open up that deep passing attack and get these explosive plays in the passing game that just haven't been there the last couple of years. And I think for this offense to kind of hit the level it needs to, they need those big passing plays.
After the Bengals drafted Burrow from LSU, did you notice a huge uptick in interest from maybe a Southern contingency in Louisiana following the Bengals? And do you think that was part of their maybe idea in drafting Jamar Chase, is to keep the interest level high, just because it's a whole fan base down here that will follow these, like the LSU guys wherever they go in the NFL? And if you build around that, it's almost building like a separate fan base in a different state.
Yeah, I haven't seen this many LSU fans in my mentions since that 2018 Texas A&M game. So it's kind of, it makes it feel like I'm back covering the SEC. And there has been an uptick. You have seen a lot of people from Louisiana, specifically from Baton Rouge, being really invested into what the Bengals are doing. It's almost a LSU North up here now, like you guys mentioned, with Jamar, with Joe Burrow, with Thaddeus Moss, with Tyler Shelvin. I mean, you have Brad Crackdorf on staff. I asked Jamar, I said, are y'all going to try to get to play neck at Paul Brown Stadium? And I think that was lost on the entire beat, except for Jamar. So he enjoyed that. But I'm serious. I want to hear some neck. I want to hear some Colin Baton Rouge. I want to hear some, I'm from Louisiana. Like, I need Death Valley now at Paul Brown Stadium. Frankly, it's a much better experience. I still think that a night game in Death Valley is the best experience you're going to find in college football and maybe all of American football. So I will be not opposed to that. But I think that, when they drafted Chase, it wasn't so much to kind of keep the fan base rolling, but it was a sense that they wanted, they felt like that was going to be the pick to produce a winning football team. And right now, Cincinnati is there's a lot of good football fans here, and there's a lot of people who have not seen a playoff win since they've been alive, to be quite honest. It's been since 1991. It's been 30 years since they last won a playoff game. So, I think this town is craving a successful franchise, and they're hoping that Burrow and Jamar are the pieces that help unlock that.
Formerly covering the SEC and the Dallas Cowboys for the Dallas Morning News, now on the beat for the Cincinnati Bengals, and doing fantastic work. I'm telling you, if you're down here in South Louisiana, and we are all following the Bengals, and we are all interested in what happens with Cincinnati, Ben Baby is our lifeline. He is the guy that keeps us up with all the information. You got to follow him on Twitter. He is at Ben_Baby. Thank you as always for the time, my friend. We will be checking in again soon. Enjoy the summer.
Hey, sounds good. Y'all take care.
All right, man. See you. There is Ben Baby checking in from the Midwest this morning, giving us an update.
Boozy up in Cincy for a game, dude. Just dive into it. That would be incredible.
I'm from Louisiana on the kickoffs.
After a tutty, dude, Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase, then I'm from Louisiana comes on.
Let him play neck.
Yeah.
For God's sake.
That would break my heart. The band can't play, but they're playing it in Cincy.
Just rocking it.
Like, oh yeah, it is fun.
What jersey would you get, Jamar or Joe?
I want the split jersey.
Yeah.
9 on the front, 1 on the back.
Joe Chase.
9 on the front,
like
1 on the back.
Yeah.
Both kids are playing, but they're on different teams.
Called 911.
Yeah. So good stuff from Ben Baby. I encourage you to get over there and follow him if you are obviously if you are interested in what's happening with Cincinnati, and we all are, just because of the characters that are up there in Cincinnati. And it's not just Joe and Jamar, man. Like Jack was saying before the interview, Tyler Shelvin was a draft pick in the 4th round. Was it 4th or 5th round? The 4th round for Tyler Shelvin. Then Thaddeus Moss was signed in the offseason.
You don't think Joe Burrow has any influence on that front office?
I mean,
all my boys eat.
Forget the personnel. Did you hear the Zach Taylor answer?
Oh, that's his guy.
I mean, like, they were talking about moving Zach Taylor, and he came in and said, "No, you're not."
Yeah.
I mean, this is our guy, and I hope that more for the fact of I'd hate to see Joe experience
the turnover like that.
The turnover and all, like Alex Smith.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
I mean, if you remember, I was watching Project 11. I mean, in his first 5 years in the league, he had five.
No stability at all.
What do you want this guy to do? I mean, it's so unfair to ask and expect somebody at that level to give you a contribution when you can't give him a constant leader or a constant teacher or, like I tried to say earlier, a constant coacher.
Yeah. Just gonna motor through that
I caught. But thank you to Ben Baby for stopping by here. He was great, man. That was good stuff. Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by Falaya Real Estate. Our good friend Barrett Blondo has changed the game in the way that real estate is being sold down here in South Louisiana. And if you're in selling homes by yourself and you want to save thousands, this is do-it-yourself for selling your home. Welcome to Empowered Real Estate. Sell your home like a pro today. Learn about it online at falaya.com. Call Barrett Blondo, 225-939-6153. Or online at falaya.com. It's easy to download the app. All you got to do is get to your Google and Apple stores and download the Falaya app today. If you're looking to sell your house this spring and thinking about trying for sale by owner, then you need to check out falaya.com, where listing plans start at just under $400. Sell your house by yourself. Save thousands with Falaya. For more information, online at falaya.com. Your food questions coming up here in 10 minutes, as Chef Jean Paul Bourgeois will be in here at the Jordy Culotta Show. We will have some content for you today from Todd Walker. We will have a interview with him at some point this morning that we will publish for you out there. Walker made some news yesterday as he was on a North Louisiana radio station and was asked specifically about Mike Bianco. And Walker confirmed that Bianco was in Baton Rouge interviewing for the job, and said that he would be open to being the hitting coach for LSU baseball. So that is something that we will talk to Todd Walker about coming up here at some point this morning, that we will publish for you to have out there and react to. But as we led off the show in discussing the LSU baseball coach, the LSU baseball coaching job is still open, and there is a lot of smoke around a couple of names, including Cliff Godwin and Mike Bianco. I have ridden this ride just like all of you out there in following the names and following the stories and trying to get some information on who could be next. And another example I can give you of times changing at LSU, and this is something that you don't need me to tell you this, but where are the leaks at anymore? Where's the news that all LSU fans used to learn before anything officially came out? Where is all that stuff? That is another example of tightening up public relations, of making sure that whoever was the leak, whoever is leaking information, is either smoked out of the meeting or not giving the info.
It's got to be a cold room if you were that guy.
Yeah.
I don't know who it was, but that's essentially what happened. But isn't that seems to be the biggest difference and the change in regime, is that the news that you're hearing is exactly what the LSU brass wants you to hear, because they're leaking it to news officials. This isn't coming from the clouds. This is coming from people that are respected, and they're like, all right, I'll work for the Advocate. I'll work for whatever insert newspaper here. Yeah, they're credentialed media members that have talked to other people, and they've talked to LSU brass like, this is what I want out there. And so it's very much changed from how it used to be, where it's like, there's 15 different stories. One of them might be true, and I don't know who's telling me this. Like, I don't know where people were getting the news from. So they definitely have tightened that up. And like, all right, our leaks are leaked on purpose.
Yeah.
Jordy,
No.
do you have a favorite pick? I mean, we always do this, but I don't think we've thrown one out for you yet. Or you
Vitello?
haven't thrown one out. That's your favorite pick?
Yo, I mean, not even
Keep
close.
it in the family.
But yeah, I mean, I think that Tony Vitello to me is the best choice for LSU baseball right now.
Okay.
Now, I don't think that you are you're losing in any scenario here, right? I think that everybody's a good coach in their own right, and I don't think if even Bianco is the guy who everybody seems to be sour on is going to be a failure. I think that you have resources. That guy's got experience. He understands what it takes to win at this level, and I think the LSU job is it's worth a couple of more wins a season.
And people are going to argue that he has what it takes to win at this level.
Sure, and I think that is the argument.
Because he has not
consistently
won at this level.
Well, he's won. He just has not won anything big.
Right.
He's not won anything that means
No,
anything.
he has a winning program. It's not a bad hire, and I think it's different. I think it's different that it wasn't we didn't fire Paul Maneri. It's that he's retired, so it's not that there's no sentiment like we have to. We got rid of this guy to bring this guy in.
Right.
We're just replacing him because
you
he's
still
retired.
want a winner.
Right, but it's not. You don't have to compare him to Paul Maneri because we didn't fire Paul Maneri.
I don't think anybody's comparing anybody to Paul Maneri, right?
Well, I think they want a better version of Paul
Well,
Maneri.
yeah.
They want and that's where I think the Vitello stuff comes in, where you want, all right, should we absolutely change the way that the LSU coaching staff looks and feels and the LSU baseball program is, or do you go with somebody that's similar in that respects the game,
Right.
old guard, and that's like the Paul Maneri comparison.
Yeah, I don't think they
I
want that.
piss and vinegar, like the Tatis. I want that type of energy. Like
want Will
that's
Wade.
what baseball is.
I want to see somebody get kicked out of a game.
Yeah.
I mean, like I hear you. I mean, like that's a good example of just kind of some fire. But I want young, hungry, motivated, determined, feels a little bit slighted.
Uncomfortable comfortable being uncomfortable.
That type of mentality is who I want to bring in. I don't want to bring in somebody who is feeling accomplished. And not to say that Bianco feels accomplished, but that part of his career where he's trying to prove it and he's trying to get the respect and he's trying to build it is past. And I think
he's established.
He's established.
It's hard to be hungry when you're on top.
Amen. And I think that whoever you bring in, like I said, I believe they're motivated at the job, right? Like, I don't think that you swing and just completely whiff on the names that are being talked about. But if there is an option to bring in somebody who not necessarily has to be from the LSU baseball fraternity and is accomplished in his own right, that you have the wherewithal to say and evaluate and say, that's what you want. That's what I want. I want somebody who is going to be able to motivate, that is every day kind of coming to the park pissed off because he feels like his team, his program is slighted and doesn't have the respect that they quite deserve, and is going to go out there and recruit it and coach it. And I think there's only one guy that checks all those boxes. I mean, go back and listen to the Chris Reed interview yesterday on what he's talking about from an opposing player's perspective of Tony Vitello, and tell me you don't want that guy as your coach. I mean, it gave me goosebumps to think about the story of LSU sneaking into Fayetteville in the third game of the series and stealing one from the Hogs, and then after the game, the assistant coach bouncing around and wanting to know what somebody said on the other team.
That's hard to find in baseball. That's like a football coach move right there.
It is a football coach move. It is a very much a move that you rarely see in college baseball. And if LSU is the job that they claim it to be, and the reputation that they are selling, and the historical references and the nostalgia that we continue to bite on with LSU baseball, well, then go get that guy. Go get that guy that fits that program, that brings you that type of cachet, that energy, that feeling. I mean, why settle back in to something that is comfortable, something that you know what the result is going to be? And while I know that in a decision-making role that safe is not necessarily wrong, in this position, Scott Woodward's got enough job security and enough skins and enough respect in the game that he can take a chance like this. It doesn't have to be the safe play. And I'm not advising or consulting Woodward. That's what I think the beauty of Woodward is. I think that he understands and is very confident in his decision making and the ways that he's going to get to this choice. And I just believe in my heart, in my mind, in my gut that Scott Woodward is a big game hunter. Scott Woodward is swinging for the fences. And there's only a couple of guys that really make sense if that's going to be your approach. And while I respect and I get the Mike Bianco push, it just doesn't make sense for that type of role.
That's what everybody wants to hear from you.
Put
it out in the universe.
Don't you think that the way you talk about LSU baseball and the way that the nostalgia of the program is and how we're very much like LSU baseball is put on a pedestal, don't you think that the Vitello the way he attacks the game and his persona kind of goes against all of that? We're so old guard, respect the game. Like, I think that's where there's some pushback on bringing Vitello here, is because of how he treats baseball. He doesn't look at it the same way that, the 55 and 60-year-old people that know what, like, their LSU baseball is completely different than what baseball is now.
He's a complainer in the dugout.
Well, and it's time to turn that over.
Right.
I mean, that's the tough decision that you make as a athletics director. I mean, that's the tough decisions that you make as the CEO. I mean, what do you want to do? What do you want to get stuck in the mindset of that, where if you
can't let that dominate the conversation. You have to go in, and if you're the athletics director, be like, look, I'm changing it.
And if you make the move like that, you extend that mentality for another decade, for another 5 years. And how much of a setback is that when you get to the podium, or you try to get to the podium the next time, right? I mean, because this is very much a crossroads of LSU baseball. Where do you want to be back into the stratosphere of championship competitive every single year, or do you want to live on the Intimidator? I mean, is that what you want to sell, or you want to sell 2021 and beyond?
And I think that's a dangerous game you're playing if you want to continue to sit back and rest on the laurels that are up on a wall, in right field, as opposed to, like, look what happened to USC baseball. They were right there with us. We were right there with LSU in terms of national championships. And if you don't make a decision to change, like, you can see that LSU is it's trending more down than it is up. And so this could, like you said, it could be an absolute time to change the perspective of the program.
Nevadis brings you the Jordy Culotta Show every single day. Remember, Nevadis is a end-to-end custom software development company with offices right here in the U.S. and internationally. They have a team of experienced software developers that design beautiful mobile web design solutions for you. They also can automate your processes inside of your office. They can digitize all of your paperwork. Whether you are a startup with a new app idea or an established company seeking ways to improve your business functions, Nevadis can support you at every stage of that software development lifecycle. Trust us over here at the Jordy Culotta Show. We are very much proud customers of Nevadis. They can help you out today. Tell Randall Nachman and his crew that you heard it here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Check them out at Nevadis.com. That is Novateus.com. Nevadis.com. Check them out. Let them help you out with your web design, with your mobile design. Today, when we come back, we got your food questions being asked and answered right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. You got any food questions? You still got time. Hop inside of YouTube, Facebook, anywhere where you can interact with us.
Twitter.
And ask your questions.
They're getting
Hashtag Ask Chef. Chef Jean Paul Bourgeois next here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, Jordy@JordyCulottaShow.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy@JordyCulottaShow.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show. Crazy debates in the break here.
Hard-hitting questions.
We all knew what our breaks were like.
Chef Jean Paul Bourgeois, we missed him last week. That was our fault. We are excited to welcome him back to the conversation here on a Wednesday morning. It is every Wednesday, 8:30. JeanPaulBourgeois.com. He is our chef here. He can figure out everything that he's got going on, like Spiceology. And by the way, thank you for the shipment, chef. It came in
you got some?
late last week. Got some spices from Spiceology.
What are you going to do with them?
That's
What
a
are
good
you going
question.
to do with them?
They're decorative right now.
Yes, makes your kitchen look official.
I very much look official. Yes. I do watch Duck Camp Diners. You see my Spiceology, don't you?
This man leaves
That's right.
venison in the sink for 2 days. Like, can I eat that?
And he's great. He's great. Good morning, Chef. How are you?
Hey, good morning, guys. It's good to be back with y'all. Missed y'all. Yes, I missed y'all last week, and happy to be here this week, though.
Happy to be here, checking in from Louisiana, right?
That's right, Covington, Louisiana, in the Homewood Suites Inn right now, overlooking the beautiful ponds of Covington.
Is that the ones with the kitchen already in there?
They do, yeah. So we have a kitchen, like full size fridge and stuff. It's nice. It's nice.
How long will you be there in Louisiana? How long will you be in Louisiana?
I leave on Saturday, actually.
Oh.
So we've been here for over a week at this point. So
we're not getting
That's
chicken,
right.
is what you're saying.
We're trying to play for the fried chicken.
Still making a play. Not dead yet.
Right.
Man, hour away from Baton Rouge, just like you think certainly you have the time to do something like that, and then you get here and you fill it up with everything else and time. And it's just like, whether it's a month or 2 weeks, it's just like we've been spending a month in every Airbnb and it's 2 weeks here. It's been just packed full of stuff and people to see and places to eat. And we've been eating around everywhere. And it's just, I've hardly cooked anything in the past week and a half.
What was the must get when you got back to Louisiana?
Actually, let's see. I would say the first restaurant. Let's see. I think I held with my promise, if you will, from last time we spoke, and I got a po' boy. I went to Bear's restaurant here in Covington, which might be one of the best po' boy spots that I've ever been to in Louisiana. It's a really cool spot, and they do an amazing roast beef po' boy and great burgers too. But just a straight up old school family run po' boy shop where you get a half, you get wholes, and you can get it on a bun. That's it. There's no other. Yeah.
There's like a line out the door at that place normally, right?
There normally is, from what I hear. I guess we got lucky. And I think we kind of went on like a 1 o'clock on a Wednesday or something, so maybe the lunch crowd left, but it's a really great place. And I hear they have a couple other locations kind of like attached to bars or something other little, whether it's Metairie or I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure this is the original here in Covington.
Chef, what's the off season like for if there is one for duck camp dinners? Is there a preparation period? Is there a production period where you guys think ideas?
Sure. Yeah, we're certainly getting into that time right now. There's some big news that I'm going to be able to talk about maybe next week, hopefully. Ooh. Actually,
Wednesday.
Yeah. Let's see. I'll still be in the country. I leave for Turkey in like a week or so, for 3 weeks. So I won't be available for these phone calls.
That's some bullshit.
Trying to slide that in there like you were going to say something about it.
But yeah, it's really getting together and discussing, because it's important to think about season 2, but we're also thinking long term and what it looks like to do 8 seasons, 10 seasons of duck camp dinners. And so how do you make the narrative and the storytelling kind of progress through season 1 into season 2 and then leading into season 3? And our idea is to maybe stay in Louisiana for season 2, but hit up different places in Louisiana and different folks in different regions. And then in 3 and 4 and moving on, getting out of Louisiana and exploring other duck camps or other hunting camps around the country. So that's just a kind of a very broad, not baked in idea right now, but we'll see.
Nice. So some of our listeners have questions coming in. Scott Graffenstein, I might have butchered that, no pun intended. He's doing a pig roast in Madisonville and wants to know if you have any tips.
A pig roast in Madisonville. Yeah. Wow, right down the street from where I'm staying right now.
Oh my God! Come down there.
Yeah. Any tips?
Here's the address in Madisonville.
Well, it really, yeah. I mean, I have some tips, and I've roasted a pig a number of different times in a lot of different ways, and so the tips I would give would have to be kind of really specified to how he's cooking them. Or I'm assuming he's cooking them in a cajachina, or what we would call a Cajun microwave, where you put coals on top. You put a pig in a box, basically, and the box has a metal top, and you put coals on the top, and it roasts from having a heat source above it. What I would say in that case is that start the pig. I always like starting that pig in that way. Because he's going to probably be butterflied, I would assume, so where he's spat out like flat. Mm-hmm. Start him where the flesh is pointing upwards towards the coals and the skin is down, and that'll get good color on the meat while holding all the juices. The skin acts as almost like a shell, like you do redfish on the half shell, right? And it kind of, those scales hold it in. Well, that skin holds in all that juices, and then roast him like that till he's 90% done, and then flip him when you want to get that crispy skin, and that's where you heat sources from the top, and it's hitting that skin. You can get some crackling. Now that takes years and years of practice to do well, and I still can't do that part well. But maybe Scott can. Now there's a bunch of different ways to roast a pig, but one thing that I would always do is I would inject the ham muscles, the shoulder muscles, the loin muscle again along the spine, any other flesh that you think would, even like the cheeks, if you're going to eat a lot of that, which is widely known as the best part of the pig, in my opinion, at least, the cheeks and the face and so on. So inject all those big muscles, give them a rub down at least the night before, but just salt the skin. I think that's the biggest issue. If you want to get good crackling out of a whole hog roast, all you have to do is salt the skin. Don't put like all-purpose Tony Chachere's or Zatarans or any type of barbecue rub on the skin, because that stuff will burn and the sugars will cause it to act all funky. It's the salt that you want to draw out moisture to better crackling that skin.
What do you use? What is your injection? What's your go-to? Do you make your own, or do you just go off the shelf?
Yeah, no, I make my own. It's always a little different, though, and it usually exists. It usually kind of consists of apple juice, apple cider vinegar, black pepper, like good bit of brown sugar, some crushed garlic that I've heated up, like and made basically like a sweet salty brine, essentially. And that's when I'm getting into all those like big shoulder muscles, especially close to the bone.
Wow.
To piggyback off of that.
What is going wrong with you?
Look at you.
Right?
How clever.
Rob wants to know, what are your favorite throwaway portions of the pig, and how do you prepare it? I guess you touched on cheeks already.
Yeah, I think the trotters, which is the trotters and the hocks. So basically, think your knee bone on down, your knee on down, and that's your calf. Basically the pig's calf and ankles. I think those are the parts that I'm going to hack off right away and get them in the cooler, because nobody's going to probably eat them, and they work great for things like red beans as your pork meat for red beans and white beans and different stews and gravies. Basically, you can make your own kind of gravy with that and eat that with rice. It was like that's a great supplement as a meat supplement for those dishes like red beans and white beans, or it can be its own kind of meal with like one hock and one trotter combined, like in a stew and gravy and eaten with rice and gravy. And they're, whether you can just hack those off and put them in the freezer in a Ziploc bag and wait till, another cook to use them. They're just a really good piece of meat, because you got to think the best tasting portions of meat on any animal are the pieces of meat that are used the most. And so, that's why the face meat like jaw is so rich and so red and so delicious, because that pig is eating a lot. Same with being on its legs, right? And its lower portion of the legs. The more it gets used, typically the better the meat is, at least more flavorful. You may have to cook it longer. It may take a different treatment than, say, a pork loin. But for the most part, those cuts are going to be a tad bit more flavorful.
I didn't realize that.
Chef, I follow you on Instagram, which I encourage all of our listeners to follow.
Yes.
It's porn. It's
Chef,
food pornography.
It is absolutely food porn. Chef Jean_Paul is where you can find him on IG. And I saw the Brio cook fire pit that you were, and I know that we've talked a lot about barbecue and ribs on this segment. But you opened up a fire pit from Brio and cooked these ribs on them. I believe it was last week. I saw the fire pit last week, and I saw the cook this morning.
Yes, yeah.
Can you just talk about the science of that fire pit, and then if there's any science behind the because if nothing else, the presentation and aesthetically, this looks like it's going to be delicious.
Yeah. So Brio's it's an amazing American company. They're American made. They're all manufactured in America, in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. There's so little cooking cooking tools manufactured in the United States. Any of your listeners, go just check out Brio.com, Brio fire pits. Don't be fooled by the rest of them who've copied them and make them in China for $200 cheaper. You can love all that if you want, but this brand, these people that make these, they put a lot of thought and heart and soul, and I just love them. They're just so fun to cook on. The science behind the Brio fire pit, they call it a smokeless fire pit, and obviously fire takes oxygen. Oxygen is the fuel for that fire, and so they have an X on the bottom of the fire pit that's raised, and you might have saw it when you look into that fire pit on that video, you can see that X, and that X has portholes which connect, and then there's other holes like the walls of the fire pit's double walled, right? So it's hollow on the inside. Then underneath, all the way at the top of that of the walls, like on the inside, you'll see there's holes that go all around it. And what happens is when a fire is burning in that fire pit, oxygen is being sucked through the fire and the logs and it goes through that X and the holes in the X on the bottom of the fire pit. And it goes and it circulates around to the firewalls, then up through those holes at the top of the fire pit, and then back down. And they call that a double combustion. And that's how you get a smokeless fire pit. And I don't know about y'all, but that's one of them. I love sitting around the fire, especially when it's cooler outside and, you know, that fall season starts to come, like football season, watching, you know, all that stuff outside. But I hate smelling like smoke, and that's what they kind of cured through that. And that double combustion that happens through there, that's because it's sucking so much oxygen. Instead of that smoke coming upward and out, it's getting recycled through that fire and burned hotter, and then you don't have the smoke that comes because it's burning too hot, and it's sucking all that smoke through and burning it again, essentially. So that's the science behind the smokeless fire pit and how they say that. Now, I love cooking ribs on there because, like, usually you would cook ribs like in an oven or in a smoker, and you cover them. You know, you close the lid and you just kind of sit back and do your thing. But I think cooking it in this way and sitting around a fire and just having them high above the fire like that really kind of engages you more in the cook, and it allows you to kind of cook and gather around this one central kind of thing. Like, nobody's really sitting around a closed barbecue pit, right, or a closed smoker. They're just like, and just watching, like, you know, they're hanging out in the patio watching TV while something smokes. I just love the idea that I can do both. I can cook on this thing and I can gather around at the same time. It's a beautiful piece of equipment. And I mean, I've baked biscuits in that fire cavity by, like, just lighting a couple logs and moving them to the side and putting a Dutch oven on the side and having my raw biscuits and baking biscuits like that. I fried chicken, like skillet fried chicken, on top of the fire before, just like that. You know, by using the fire as my heat source. It's just, it's a great company. It's a great piece of gear. It'll last you a lifetime. And that 10-year anniversary grill, which you've seen in today's video, is one of a kind. They've only made, I believe, 50 of them. And there's only a couple people that got one to cook on it, but I'm giving away one tomorrow. What? So those listeners, I'm going to put a post up tomorrow, and I'll do a giveaway on Instagram. So somebody's going to be able to get that very special 10-year anniversary one.
Make sure and follow the chef. I'm telling you, Chef Jean Paul. He's on IG at Chef Jean_Paul.
Chef, last week was the 2-year anniversary of Chef Anthony Bourdain's death. I was just wondering what impact he had on you, because I feel like everybody that cooks has an Anthony Bourdain story or resonates with him on some level. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Oh, man. Yeah, he was awesome, man. He was just, his writing, I loved his writing, and I loved how, you know, he didn't care about how entertained you were from him. He cared about kind of telling other people's story. He knew that people were fascinated with him and his life, but he was more fascinated with others. And you know, there was a humbleness about him with that. And I just think that's so lost in today's entertainment, today's TV, today's chefs. You know, we tend to be a lot about ourselves, but it always felt like to me, and I didn't know him at all. I had the chance to meet him once, and I chickened out. I just felt like he was just more interested in other stories than himself and than his own. And that one time I chickened out, we were going on a flight, I believe, to Barcelona. My wife says we were going on a flight to Barcelona from Paris, and he was on my same flight, and he looked tired from traveling and being on the whole time. And that's why I didn't say hello. I just didn't want to bother him, because he was kind of by himself and nobody was bothering him. And he looked like he had been traveling for weeks and weeks and weeks.
No reservations.
And yeah, that's right. Exactly. So, you know, I think he's left a void in the entertainment world, the storytelling world, that has yet to be filled. And I don't think we ever will. I don't think there'll ever be another one. I think I've gotten a lot of inspiration from him, especially for duck camp dinners, and how I tell the story about the Louisiana duck camp and how Louisiana culture. I wanted to be about other people and about the food and about the conservation and about the good times that we have, and kind of really trying to use his just being inspired by what he did for others and trying to do the same thing that I can do for Louisiana and duck hunters and food and so on. So, I think about him a lot because I follow a lot of accounts that kind of post quotes. He actually I was thinking about him actually this morning before he called. So it's just kind of coincidental that you asked me about him. But, there was this person on Twitter that said, what's the one narrative that you think should die right away? And the person and the narrative in food that you think should just go away right away. And the person's response was that we should all get around the table, everybody around the world with all their problems, and food can fix anything and so on. And I, for the most part, agree with that. That's being said way too much. And although food is a great equalizer in a lot of ways, it won't solve all the issues in the world. But I think about Anthony Bourdain and that one quote he had about barbecue. And he said, barbecue can't save the world, but it's a damn good start. And I thought that was at least mostly true for a lot of good ways, because that's one of those things, kind of like boiling crawfish and going back to those ribs and the barbecued and grilled ribs where you can sit around a fire and be around people. It won't solve all your issues, but at least get you there to talk about them,
Chef, as always, we appreciate the insight, the time. Safe travels to you next week. We look forward to linking back up. I guess that will be a month from now. So have a safe travel, and thank you as always.
All right. Thanks, guys. I think I'll have next week open, but after that, it'll be gone for a few weeks. So I'll talk to y'all soon. Thank y'all.
Wait, Chef, on your way out, we had a debate going around the room. If you could only pick one, you can either shower for the rest of your life or brush your teeth for the rest of your life. You only get to pick one.
To a chef.
I'm going with brush my teeth because I could still jump in a river.
There you go. That was our theory.
Yes.
The pool bath.
The pool bath.
The pool bath works every time.
You probably have to do that in Turkey a little bit.
That's right. Chef, enjoy home. We'll talk next week.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good morning.
All right,
Bye.
there he is. Chef Jean Paul Bourgeois checking in. I guess that is the safe play, is the brushing the teeth, just because there's so many waterways around you that you could probably get away with.
Band-Aids on the dam.
Yeah.
You can fix it.
Yeah, well,
you can't fake brush your teeth. You can fake bath.
Yeah, I guess Listerine would be your only option.
Yeah,
if you
that's what I
can't
was
brush your
thinking,
teeth,
Listerine.
you could Listerine.
finger.
The Listerine play is good for about 48 hours.
Right, and you gotta keep that thing on you if you're going that
Once you get into that 3-day window, cuz,
But do
if
you
we're
get
not
soap in the
brushing our
river or
teeth.
Pool? Do you get soap, or are you just going in water?
In the pool, I'll probably go soap. I don't know if you could
Chlorine kills all.
Chlorine kills all.
All right, while we're on teeth, Dr. Spillers did get back to us. He's busy with patients, obviously, but he says those laterals are looking way better on Joey B.
The laterals?
I got the picture.
Do you have the picture?
I got
to
it
put
coming up right now.
He's got a before and after,
Official
and
terminology.
it's definitely official. That's all we know. That's how we know it's real.
That's how you know that was the
I'm
test.
in total agreement now. Now we know they are veneers.
They have to be.
They are veneers. You're gonna.
Oh,
know.
100%. When you see them
You're
side
gonna
by
see the
side, I'm about to
picture.
pull them
Are
up.
they actually 40K though?
Yeah, did we
Oh
ask?
no, let me ask him that.
Yeah,
And
can you
that's
get a price tag on that?
that's another thing. If you to go with the debate, do you have to brush veneers?
Ooh.
Oh,
Well,
I'd
yeah.
imagine so.
Yeah,
bro.
you do. Those
Why?
are your
Imagine
teeth.
so.
But I don't
I mean,
think they
you're
stink
still-
and they stain.
Yeah, I mean, you're
I
still
don't know if they can
closing your
stain,
mouth
but
and still
plaque,
chewing
yeah.
chewing food in them.
Well, you could floss, but I'm saying, does it stain? I mean, these are
I
questions
don't
that
think
need
it
to be
stains,
asked.
but you get plaque and things on your veneers just like your regular teeth.
Okay, I thought that would just
Yeah.
wipe away like a windshield. I've never touched a
Yeah,
veneer.
because
No,
I
I
have
don't- I don't
I have
know
veneers
what
in
a
the
veneer
back
is.
of my mouth.
What?
Why?
Yeah, in the very back because I grind my teeth a
Oh.
lot, and so they were grinding down to nothing. So they put veneers on, and yeah, I brushed them. They weren't like, "Hey, don't even worry about the back of your mouth anymore.
You're
Your
good.
veneers
There
stink.
you go. Just some Listerine, and you're golden." That wasn't the conversation.
All right, good stuff today. We appreciate Jean Paul Bourgeois for his regular segment. Ben Baby talking Cincinnati Bengals. Austin Thomas talking LSU. We will have some more content for you today as Todd Walker is going to stop by here at some point this morning, and we will get that out. We'll ask him about his thoughts on LSU baseball, the rest of the conference, get his thoughts on Joey teeth, on Joey's teeth, on Tony Vitello, on the rest of the SEC.
Todd's probably got veneer
Oh,
money.
he's definitely got veneer.
Yeah.
Definitely got
I don't know if that's unfair. They're going to, like, settle
just
in.
like Chad said, the laterals are totally different.
Definitely got. Who called him out on that on Twitter?
I guess Kyle Bratzel that put this tweet up, but I think it's been circulating. It happened in late May, but I just saw it yesterday, and I was shocked. I didn't think Burrow had. I don't know. I guess you get that veneer money, might as well do it. But I didn't think he would give a shit.
He spent $25K on a chain. He's got money.
Yeah, but the chain is his vibe. I get that. He's going for like biggest dick in the room.
That chain cost $25,000.
Then Boozy gave him his a chain. Boozy Badass made his own chain and gave it to Joe Burrow. Like knighted him.
All right.
Yeah, officially Louisiana now.
He knighted him.
Welcome to Louisiana, man.
Keep that yellow jersey on.
Love Boosie.
Let's get him in here.
Try to, bro.
For real.
It's way too early. We're too early of a show for Boosie.
Or too late. Maybe just winding down.
That's right.
Too late.
That's right. Appreciate everybody. We'll be back with you at some point today. Remember, set your alerts on YouTube. Click that
little
bell.
Click the bell.
Click the bell, and you'll know when we go live or we have content for you. We will talk to Todd Walker at some point today. Thank you to everybody out there. Make sure you like, share, comment on the post. Go Chevrolet drives us every single day. GEAUXChevrolet.com. Shout out to Lee Carney and Nick Richard for always taking care of us. We're back with more of the Jordy Culotta Show tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.
And maybe this afternoon.
This afternoon.